Hello all wonderful people, this is Kevin from CC Pipe here, where we focus on productivity and pipeline for creatives, and today I'm here once again to talk to you about Microsoft Word. And it seemed to be a popular topic, so I thought I'd do another video on it. And this is one of those things that I don't necessarily recommend that you always do, but it can come in handy when you actually need to use it. So what I have for you today is 3 tips for when a client for some reason must have an editable version of some design using Office. And what would that be in practice? Well, first, I'm mainly thinking of things that they would be printing on their own. And these tips are partly things I learned from working in-house. And a very good use case that I thought of would be making branded Office templates or other Office material for the company to use on their own. And let's face it, outside the designer world, the software people have and use is Microsoft Office. And some concerns that I have about designing Word would be definitely color accuracy and general quality for print. However, if these things are to be printed at printing houses, print PDFs really are the only way to go anyway. But if not, let's take a look at some tips on how to deal with it. Okay, let's move on to the first tip, which is partially to design in Adobe and then let the client just fill in the rest themselves. And in my example, it will be a standardized company business card. And first, we design like we normally do in InDesign or Illustrator, your preferred Adobe software, then export it as an image that we then make into a background in, for example, Word. And next, we just create a text box for the user to write in their info in. So let's do that. I have this background picture that is exported from InDesign here in Bridge, and this I want to put into Word. So let's move over there. And we go over here to Insert and then Picture, and from this device, of course, and we'll just find a JPEG, which is this one. Now we need to adjust the layout options here. This is to move it freely. We choose behind text, and this is just one of those little quirks about using Word. It isn't really meant for design. And then just scale it to fit the page. And next we need a text box. And that's also under Insert, and that's over here. And we grab one of those, and now while it's still selected, we get the Design tab here, as you can see. And I'm just going to choose this blank preset from this drop-down. Just a sec. Yes, that's the one, just to remove all this formatting that we don't want. Now we just need to write our contact info, and I did take the liberty of having that on my clipboard, so I'll just paste it in. And of course, some additional formatting would be in place to maybe change the font to Nobel Regular. And a better size. I think we go with 12 points and something like this. And then we just put it in its place. That's all well and good, but there is a problem here, which brings us to my second tip. And the background here is very easily moved out of place, and anyone could also straight up just remove it. But we can restrict these things, so let's make it so that the user can only edit this text box. And in order to do that, we need to go to Review up here, and then we find Restrict Editing. And that brings up this new little panel. And to start us off, we are interested in this second part. And we start by checking this box to activate it, and this will now lock everything, and now we need to select what shouldn't be locked. And that would be by selecting that item, being this text box. Then we check the Everyone box here, and now this is going to be editable for everyone. And if you wanted to have specific people only to able to edit, you could change that by setting specific office email addresses and that sort of thing. And now to activate this, we click on Start Enforcing at the bottom, and it will ask us for a password. And when we've done that, it is now live. And one last thing I want to do is to take away the highlighting, because it makes this white text unreadable for the user. That isn't going to be there in print, it just shows the user. And as you can see, if we now move into the field here, we can write in it, but we can't move it. And the background is also locked, which is perfect. And by the way, I know that you can create form fields in Word, which also could help you in certain scenarios, But what I showed you here is just, of course, one way of solving the problem. And in a follow-up tutorial, I think I'll show you how to make InDesign form fields using this example, and then only using Adobe software and PDFs instead. Lastly, there is another potential problem, and while the text box formatting can be set with some default text like we just have done, it could still be changed. So let's look at how to restrict that text formatting as well. And that we will do with styles. And maybe start by unlocking things again, and we press stop protecting down here and type the password. Great. Next, we need to create a style. By opening the styles panel with this little arrow, we can click on the plus and name it something, of course. Maybe we'd call it contact, and I want Nobel, regular, and I think we use 12 points. And keep in mind that the user will need the font in question installed since it's Word. And one last change on the paragraph. I just want to get rid of this spacing here. So I'll just zero that out and we are done. Next, we want to allow only this style to be used. And we can do that from the restrict panel that we used a moment ago. And we just check the limit formatting to a selection of styles and then settings. And this is really why I dislike Word's handling of styles, because there is so much garbage in here. But to get rid of it, first press none to deselect everything, and of course check our new style that we called contact. And last thing, there are some options down here, and in this case I don't want to allow any overrides, and I don't want theme switches and no quick style set switching, so basically maximum restriction. The only thing to do now is to press start enforcing again and give the password, and voila. Now it should be pretty safe. And keep in mind there could be long names, and maybe small version of the style would be a good thing as well. But this was only an example to highlight these features. And it's a very specific but hopefully useful thing. And with that said, that's all for this time, and I will definitely make the follow-up with the PDF form fields coming soon. Okay, so I realized that there was a slight problem here, and even though we only wanted contact to show as the only style to be available, the normal style still remains, and I wanted to show you how you can get rid of it if you really can't get rid of it otherwise. So the way you do that is you first need to unlock, and then we go here to the manage styles. And then on the recommend, you just find normal and you click on hide and OK. And it wants a password for that apparently. And now you can see that that one disappeared. So that's how you would fix that. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It helps me out a lot. And also, if you have any productivity questions or suggestions for future videos, make sure to throw those in the comments below. Once again, thank you, and until next time, have a good one.